drive.
2021 Subaru Impreza
Sport Tech with eyesight.
So what kind of car is this? What does this compete with?
This is a hatchback. It's also available in a sedan. The closest competitor would probably be a Mazda 3 because this is all-wheel drive, and the Mazda 3 now comes in all-wheel drive.
But this would also kind of compete with a Civic, a Corolla, an Elantra, but those do not have an all-wheel drive option. Those are only front-wheel drive.
That's right.
And this has no front-wheel drive options, only all-wheel drive, because that's Subaru's gimmick.
That's right, except the BRZ, which is for real drive.
Also a Toyota.
Yes. So since this is the Sport Tech, this is the top trim with the sport suspension, I'm going to send it into cliche corner with these CVT fake paddles, and it actually grips pretty well. Definitely doesn't have that much power, which we'll get to when we launch it, but handling-wise, this is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's very composed and predictable.
The steering is really light. The body roll is actually not too significant considering we're on winter tires. I think it really does a good job of handling considering this is like a pretty base kind of car. Like it's not an STI or a WRX, but considering it's an Impreza, I'm actually pretty satisfied with this.
Yeah, and if you're driving in snow, it will plow out a little more. It won't be like full oversteery like a Subaru with X-Drive would.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a fine, normal driving car.
Yes, but you do have to turn off the traction to have like any sort of fun.
Yeah, but if you want fun, you get a WRX or an STI.
Yes. And you may have noticed that we haven't launched it yet, so now it's time for a launch. Here we go, CVT. Okay, it is really slow, and I did time it earlier with the Draggy app. Shout out Draggy for not sponsoring the channel. We bought it ourselves. 10.8 seconds, 0 to 60. It's quite slow.
Yeah, and we're switching to 0 to 60 because that's miles per hour, because a lot of Americans don't understand 0 to 100 kilometers an hour and then the transfer over and how 60 isn't exactly 100, so.
Yeah, 100 kilometers per hour is 62 miles per hour, which typically adds like 0.2 or 0.3 or 0.4 depending on the car. That's a substantial difference. So I'm just gonna go with 0 to 60, which is 0 to 96 kilometers per hour.
And I guess the reason it's that speed is because of the horsepower and torque.
152 horsepower, 145 pound-feet of torque from a 2-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine.
Yeah, which isn't really that fast. This is an economy car.
Yes, and as you guys can tell, this is mated to a CVT transmission, so it does simulate fake gears. I believe it simulates 7 of those fake gears.
So what a CVT is a continuously variable transmission. So it kind of just stays in the power zone and efficiency zone. And the gears are all just simulated so people think it feels normal.
Yeah, so it simulated that gear, but in certain circumstances, like if I'm not in sport mode, which I am, it'll just hang and just sit there at like 6,500, just being really loud.
Which I think is kind of cool because it just shows that like we're just doing mechanical efficiency. Like I'm not adding fake gears to make you feel better about yourself. This is how mechanics work.
Yeah, no, this is terrible though. Like I would rather just have a regular auto just like in a Mazda 3.
Yeah, but the thing about CVTs is they don't bother me because the cars they're in are slow cars that I don't want to go fast in, and I can merge on the highway just fine.
Well, in 10.8 seconds.
Yeah, I mean...
The thing I don't like about them the most is how loud they are, because like, I'm half throttle, and I'm at 4,000 just screaming. That's what I don't like about CVTs.
But without a CVT, you'll have pumped-in audio probably, and it'll be just as bad.
God.
So overall drivetrain makes sense for economy car.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just a little bit slower than I would have hoped.
What's next? Should we do the looks?
Yeah, let's get to the looks.
Because we haven't done an Impreza before, but we've done STIs and WRXs, which used to be based off Imprezas, and now WRX and STI is its own thing, because it's like old school fast.
Yes.
And this is the new style, which they haven't made into a fast version yet, which they might not ever do.
No, they don't, because they separated the lines, and I don't think they'll ever bring them back together.
Yeah!
So starting with the front end, the first thing that I noticed is the nice headlights. They have the boomerang LEDs.
Yeah, but I still think the WRX and STI do it a little sharper.
Yeah, for sure.
But the front end still looks like everything else Subaru, and we've got this nice bright blue paint.
Yeah, and this paint is only available on the top trim Sport Tech.
And I usually don't like blue paint, but in this situation, it's really nice.
But back to these headlights, we do have projectors, and they are HIDs, which is really nice, or LEDs.
The side view, we've got some pretty good body lines. I think they're like kind of okay. It kind of does look awkward because you can like switch between sedan and hatch, and it's very similar.
And it's almost wagony, the proportions of
Yeah.
it. So I'm okay with it. It's not like great looking, but it's not bad looking.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then the wheels.
The wheels are all right. They fit the car.
Subaru E, not bad.
Yes, they're very Subaru-y.
And then what would be the Continental recommended tire for an Impreza?
The all-new Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus.
And if you look at it, it is pretty low for a Subaru. You'd kind of expect them to be raised a bit, but this isn't an off-road ruggedy model. You're looking at a Crosstrek if you want that.
That's right. This is just like a normal hatch, which is really still good in today's age. It's just, it handles better because it's lower to the ground, so you do get all that kind of stuff. And I think you get kind of better looks. Not cooler looks, better looks.
Then a Crosstrek?
Better looks.
Nah, I think Crosstrek looks better, but
I think it looks cooler.
Back end, we don't have any exhaust tips because it's just a little pipe that comes down, which is fine.
Totally fine. There's no fake tips.
It's a hatch, so if we lift it up, it's not power, which kind of sucks, but I understand economy car. We should probably do the
box test.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Get your own box on patreon.com/TheStraightPipes. Sorry, we couldn't fit these boxes in this little hatchback. Decent. So the taillights.
Taillights are all right.
They're not like cool.
Kind of like the front.
They're not cool LED or stand out or anything. They're just like normal economy car thing.
Yeah.
Slightly below economy car. I feel like everyone else's, because an Elantra has like amazing taillights now.
And so does a Mazda 3.
Yeah, but a Mazda 3 I think has a lot less space back there.
Yes. So overall, I think this looks pretty good, but it's not remarkable in any way.
Yeah, definitely didn't do anything wrong, especially not in this color.
Yeah. So there's still a lot to touch on with this interior, so let's get you behind the wheel.
And all the features.
Yes, in the interior.
Automatic, not sport mode, traction on, just flooring it.
Hear the sound of the CVT's people.
I mean, it's simulating figures. It's not like hanging like.
I think if you kept going, it would have just like kept simulating.
What, at like 200
Floor
kilometers
it.
an hour?
Dude, we're not at 200.
No, I'm saying that's where you need to be to get it to.
No, it's still doing
It still
it.
shifts.
Yeah.
All right, pretty good shifting logic, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So now let's get to all the stuff people really care about if they buy this car. The features. We have the eyesight system, but it's not eyesight with lane tracing or lane centering, whatever they call it.
Yeah, so Subaru calls all their systems eyesight, but they are
that's
different.
these two eyes up here.
Yeah, which are always looking at everything outside.
So it's like a lane departure assist, but it won't keep you centered, which kind of sucks, but it does have radar cruise and everything, which is nice. But the eyesight will not work if your windshield is covered with ice or anything. You need to make sure it's fully defrosted first because it's built in from the inside.
Well, yeah.
Unlike a lot of cars that have radars that do the same thing at the front.
Exactly. Which you also have to make sure those aren't covered up when you're driving like slush and stuff. So, I don't know, there's no perfect solution.
And then interior-wise, we do have Apple CarPlay, we do have Android Auto, and I think we have one of the best infotainments that is just a touchscreen with a volume knob and tuning knob, because I think the Mazda infotainment with the rotary is better than everything else.
Yeah, this is a very good infotainment. It's very simple, very well laid out.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like is that there's no one-click button to get to your phone projection. You need to always click at least 2. And then this also does have rewinding Sirius XM satellite radio, and this also has Tune Mix, which is my favorite Sirius XM feature.
But can you save it as a favorite?
Yeah, you can save it as a favorite.
There you go.
It's sick. Camera has a pretty clear view from each side when you're backing up, as opposed to those Lexuses we drove that were kind of warpy.
Yeah, the resolution's like okay, but it's still pretty clear, I'd say.
Yeah, no 360 on here, which does kind of suck, but economy car thing, so like
You can't expect it.
really expect it, yeah.
No. At this point, you can expect sensors, but not cameras.
Yeah. Oh, and this volume tuning knob that we mentioned earlier, one of the best tuning knobs of all time.
It is very good, no
Like,
issues.
really, really good. And then our gauge clusters are very simple, analog on the left and right, digital in the middle, but when you're on a call on Apple CarPlay, it covers up your digital speed.
I really like the gauges because they remind me of like the STI gauges.
Yeah, I haven't driven one in a while, hopefully soon.
Yeah, it is winter. It would be nice to drive one in the winter.
Okay, and then we also have a little screen above the infotainment, which has your climate control settings and some other stuff in there to let you know if your eyesight is working. And I actually think it's kind of nice because it's up in the field of view.
Yeah, I totally get why they did that now. But
Yeah.
controlling it is still a bit of a pain because you have to use the steering wheel button. There's no individual button at the top of it.
Yeah, we've got like 2 info and setting buttons here, so whatever, it's just a little learning curve.
And speaking of the steering wheel, we do also have a heated steering wheel, but to enable it, you kind of also don't really know if it's enabled because the LED is so dim.
Yeah, but it's bright when you click it and then it dims out, so that's just
Yeah.
weird engineering.
Exactly.
And then our CarPlay is wired, but you can't really fit new phones here. It's a little too small.
It is small.
Then cup holders though.
It looks like it'll fit a small cup of Timmy's.
Yeah, it's been no issues at all. And in front of that, we have hard buttons for your heated seats, which is nice because you can just always keep it stuck in the heated position.
And what about our visors? These are tiny.
3, 2, 1.
Fail. Miserable fail.
Yeah, I actually had a clip of me driving with Subaru visors and the sun is totally in my eyes.
Man, that's bad.
One day they'll learn.
Hopefully.
But before I keep going, a little boot through cliche corner.
How's that?
Predictable, and one more good one.
It's like a touch of understeer, but it's pretty neutral.
Yeah, right down the middle. Perfect normal car stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like fun, but it's definitely not tricky.
No, you definitely really have to toss it, but yeah, I don't know if it would be called fun.
So with all the techie stuff out of the way, we should probably talk about the materials and everything.
So some of them are pretty good. There are some cheap hard plastics down below, but you don't really touch many of them. The coolest one is probably this fake carbon fiber up here.
I think it's called carbon look paneling.
Yes, and it's even funnier because in the front, it's got like this silver kind of accent to it, whereas in the back, it's not. It's just black. So a little bit odd.
Okay, we have a manual e-brake, which is awesome.
Yes, we do.
Because that's probably not going to last too much longer in the whole world of things.
And then we also have this gloss black shifter, which kind of sucks, especially in a car of this price.
Yo, armrest, pretty good. This little extension is just decent enough for me while driving.
But it sucks for me as a passenger because they scooped it out for the cups.
Yeah, I hate when passengers try to like take over the driver armrest.
Exactly.
Like, you're a passenger. This isn't for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you're in a Hummer that's like so long that you couldn't even touch each other's shoulders if you wanted to.
And these seats are kind of hard.
They're firm, definitely firm.
Yeah.
Not the most comfortable, not like a Nissan Space seat.
Oh God, no, not even close.
And steering wheel feels good and everything. We got red stitching, which is cool. And all the buttons are very well laid out and easy to understand.
And sitting behind myself, there's actually a ton of room back there. I'm very comfortable at 6'1.5".
And lastly, we do have proximity touch door handles.
So convenient.
That's pretty much the most important thing. And even when everything's locked, if you go to the back and try to open the trunk, it's proximity there.
Yeah, and we actually complain about not having that in certain cars, like you have to actually press a black little button. This car doesn't have that, and it's at an affordable price. So our complaints are valid in other videos where people are like, I can't believe you're complaining it doesn't have it. This car has it at this price.
And then lastly, the thing I like about this compared to the recent CX-30 Turbo that we drove, that car had that weird thing when you put it in reverse, you had to hit the gas before it would release the parking brake and everything.
Yeah.
Nothing weird like that because we've got a normal manual e-brake, and it's so much more convenient not having a weird workaround every time you move a car.
Yeah, I hate electronic parking brakes, but that's where everyone's going.
Okay, I think that's it with the Impreza. Let's get to the price.
This one is $33,470 in the fully loaded top trim.
Canadian, and yeah, it's kind of surprising this is top trim.
Yeah, I know. Because it's kind of missing some stuff, which we're also in a Crosstrek this week, and the Crosstrek is not the top trim, but it has the better eyesight.
Yeah, with lane centering, and it's cheaper, so I'm kind of confused why someone would buy this over a Crosstrek.
And I hate to say that, but I also am as well.
Yeah, so if you want to know more about that, make sure you watch our Crosstrek video. If you have an Impreza or got one, let us know why, and if you got a WRX or STI instead, send us pictures.
Yeah, and click over here because we got some playlists of other stuff which are kind of comparable to this, or maybe just more fun.
Or some more Subarus.
Yes, probably just Crosstrek, if that's even out.